is not my typical setup, but it will have to do. We're back again with episode 4 of how to become an iGaming writer. And today we're going to talk about the terms that you want to know before you start writing. So the first and most popular is RTP. The RTP is the return to player percentage. So typically, this is the amount of money that you can expect to get back from playing a game. So for example, if you see a slot that says it has 96% RTP, which by the way is the industry standard, it means 4% goes to the casino, while the remaining 96% should ideally come back to you. So that means, for example, if you bet $100, you should get back $96 over time, while the casino gets back the remaining 4%. Now, this is theoretical, so do not expect you're actually going to get back that $96. All right, so that percentage that goes back to the casino is called the house edge. Volatility basically tells you how tough it is to get a win in a game. Say you're playing a slot that's highly volatile. You bet $100 across 100 spins. You might not even hit a single win till, let's say, your 98th spin, but then it's going to be very, very big. It's going to be a massive win because, of course, you've lost a lot, so you definitely should get back a lot. If the variance is low, it means you can make wins like back to back. For example, you bet $2, you win 1.8, so and so forth, basically. So over 10 spins, you maybe can get about 5 or 6 wins, which I think is good, but they're quite minute. Now we have medium volatility, which is basically in between the high and the low. This means you get fairly frequent wins, and the size is also fairly large and fairly small. These terms are mostly associated with slots, so we're just going to move now to casinos. Now, for casinos, you would hear words like operators, aggregators, providers. Now, operators are not the casinos themselves, because a lot of writers kind of just mistake that. They call the casino the operator. There are brands, right, that have these casinos. Those are the operators. So, for example, I can be an operator and I have like 3 different casinos under my name. Now, it is the operators actually that get the licenses, not the casino. Put that here. All right, so operators are the owners of the brands. So you have casinos, you have operators. Then when we talk about providers, these are the people who makes the games. Now, so how do I, as an operator, get these games on my platform? That's where aggregators come in. So the aggregators are basically like the middlemen between the software providers and the casinos, or the casino operators. So instead of me as an operator to decide, okay, I have to talk to this software provider, I need to talk to NetEnt, I need to talk to Play and Go to get their games. No, I just talk to the aggregator, and then the aggregator brings all the games into my platform. That makes life easier. So you might get to write about these things when you're writing casino reviews or you're writing guides. You might need to use these terms. So now you already know what they mean. Moving on, we have licensing, which is a very important factor you need to check when you're reviewing sites or you're writing money pages and talking about how certain sites are trusted, basically. So who issues licenses? So a gambling regulator is an entity set up by the government to oversee the gambling activities within its jurisdiction. So that means things like issuing licenses, one, helping people who are vulnerable to problem gambling, determining how gambling ads should be served, in conjunction, of course, with lawmakers. They just make sure that gambling is done within predetermined boundaries and they're not used for things like money laundering or crime and all of that. So for a casino to be deemed fit to serve people in certain regions, these regulators have to fact check and do very, very thorough background checks on the owners, the entity itself and everything, just to make sure that they are not putting people at risk. Now, if you have a problem with a casino, the people you can complain to are the regulators. And how do you find where a casino is licensed? You usually go to the footer, you find it there, or you check their terms and conditions. Somewhere there, you would find the name of the regulator. If it's not there, run away. Also, I like to double check by going through the directory of every regulator to see if the specific casino that claims they're licensed by them is on the list. So who are the regulators you should know? For starters, know the MGA, the Malta Gambling Authority, the UKGC, and of course Curacao, which is now the Gambling Control Board, exactly, and the Autonomous Island of Anjouan. Now, for the first 2, they're usually tied to very, very big brands, while the other 2 are mostly for offshore brands. Who are offshore brands? That's another term you need to know. Offshore operators are basically casinos that are not licensed in specific places, but they have a license somewhere else in another country that just gives you assurance that they're good people, that they will welcome you from your country even though they're not licensed there. That's basically it. Now, you see things like certain regions are suffering from all their gambling revenues going offshore. Yes, these operators are targeting people in those places where gambling rules are kind of strict and they're letting people use VPNs to access their site. And even in some cases, you don't even need a VPN because the site is open to you. So that's basically who offshore brands are and who regulators are. What else do you need to know? Oh, yes, like I said, every country has its own regulatory body, and sometimes specific states or counties even have their own small gambling regulatory structure. You would also want to check this depending on the site you're reviewing, and what they have written is their regulatory oversight. Okay, this is not going to be a very long video. I am going to see you guys next time because we have so much more coming up. And don't worry, I'm not going to be running away again. I needed to sort a few things which I already have. So we are going to have an interesting time on this channel. See you next time.